Welcome to Let's Talk Immigration. We're going to cover a couple main topics today in our weekly review of immigration updates. We're going to talk today about the H2A and H2B visa programs. We have a little bit of news on that. We have some news on the L1 and the L2 spouse EAD work permit process. That's been upgraded a little bit, as well as some H4 EAD information. We'll also be talking about some developments in immigration, new trends, and a decrease in immigration filings. And we'll also talk about a little bit of the issues we're seeing around the world in regards to the United States attracting foreign talent. Finally, we have a couple questions at the end of our podcast to answer from viewers like you. All right, let's hit it. All right. So first off, we've got the H2A and H2B process. Every year, USCIS announces a country list that will be included in the H2A, H2B visas. And this year, they've added a handful of countries, which include places like Dominican Republic, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Cyprus, Mauritius, Haiti, and a couple other Caribbean islands. In addition, they removed Moldova from that list. What this means for you is if you're looking for short-term employees in the agricultural field, which is H2A, or in the skilled labor field, which is H2B, you have a couple more countries to choose from, aside from Mexico, Philippines, and the other long list of countries that already exist. Most often, we see our clients choosing H2B applicants from Mexico and the Philippines because there's a lot of skilled labor there in the different fields that work here in the United States. But with these new countries on the list, opportunity to look and recruit from different areas. All right, USCIS recently had a settlement on a lawsuit, and that lawsuit was about L1 and H1B spouses, okay? What happened was USCIS has been long delaying specific kinds of work permits under the Trump administration. Lots and lots of delays, taking a lot of time, and really setting people back to the point where people are losing their jobs. We're talking 1 year, 13-month, 14-month delays on a simple work permit. So in this lawsuit, what's come about is that spouses of L1, and this is the big deal, spouses of L1, they're called L2, no longer have to apply for work authorization to prove to work in the United States. With their L2 approval, that alone gives them permission to work in the United States. Now, that's a very big deal. It also actually fits in with the spouses of E2. Now, the E2 spouses are allowed to work in the United States without an EAD if they're working for their E2 company. But there was a lawsuit on that many years ago. I think it's a BIA decision that says E2 spouses can work also outside of the company without a work permit. All right. Now, based on the terms of the settlement, the H4 non-immigrants who do file EAD renewals will be getting a 100-day extension on their EAD. So it's an automatic extension on the EAD for 180 days if a timely filed extension has not been approved. Now, it is getting a little bit tricky. If you are filing the EAD concurrently with the I-539 request for extension, that will not give you 180 days. They'll only give you a shorter extension just to the end of the I-94. So it gets a little bit tricky depending on how you file it. So you should consult with your attorney on that because you want to make the right choice when you're filing your EAD renewal for the H4 EADs. Now, aside from that settlement, we've already reported on some very basic information, one being that the H4 EAD looks like it's heading towards a premium processing process. We're going to have that coming out very, very soon, and we're going to have detailed guidelines on that as well. Essentially, we're looking at some new developments as well as immigration. We're looking at new developments in trends right now, and some of the trends that we're seeing are big delays by U.S. processing that have turned into less applicants at the U.S. lottery for the H1B. Now, what's happened, I think, is overall the trend in employment in the last few years has been very, very negative towards foreign employees in the United States. It's been negative in terms of the news media and the broadcasts. It's been negative in terms of the ability to get the visa. And finally, it's been extremely hard and negative on the families of those individuals because those family members are not getting permission to work when most American families on the coast have both spouses working, right? And it's the same for these families, but they're not getting permission to work, they're not getting work authorization. And they're also facing the realization that if their child might age out, their child might become 21, 22, and they won't qualify for an actual green card with the family. And because of that, what we're seeing is that they're choosing not to come to the United States. And we've had what we're seeing is that the lowest amount of initial and continuing H1Bs in 2019 that we've had over a decade in time. All right, and included in that analysis was the analysis of how many more cases were being denied. If you recall, we've already done some stories on it, but the denial rate had climbed from the low 10–12% all the way up to 30-something% in some categories for the H-1B. And that happened in 2018 and 2019, and it caused such a disruption for employers in the United States that it became very, very difficult for them to continue filing cases. So what we're seeing right now is a general tick in the downturn trend from individuals applying for these visas. That brings us all to our final point here we wanted to make, which is that the United States and China are engaging in a competition for foreign talent, okay? And that means that China has enticements for their own overseas students to come home, as well as bringing in other talent with PhDs in the STEM field to grow that base. Now, the United States has always been a country where immigration was one of the founding elements of the country. People came here from other places to build a new life, to engage in the capitalist system, to get into a democracy that allowed them to exist in a way that they felt more comfortable. And we've seen those things kind of slip away and become less important as individuals in the mobile workplace in the world, the global workplace, are making choices based upon some real core factors. And in my personal anecdotal opinion, I can tell you that a lot of those factors are really centered on stability. Okay, and I say that because getting a raise 5%, 10%, yeah, that always matters. But the truth is, a lot of these decisions aren't really going to be just on that small per capita rate or that raise that they might get. They really want to know: can I come? Can I get full status? Can I live in this country as a resident? Can my family also live here? Okay, because these are normal parents, right? They have kids. They don't want their kids to have to leave the country or move to another place. They want that unity. They want that cohesion. So the number one factor that I am seeing, okay, is opportunity. That's still the number one factor, right? Is there an opportunity for me to live and work in that country? What does the opportunity look like? How does that shape up? It has to exist. But we've always had that. We are the most innovative country in the world. We create things, we innovate here. We have all these areas of the country where innovations and tech, for example, are growing and going in good directions. That is opportunity. So having opportunity is here, but what we have not given to these people is stability, okay? Currently, the United States is facing a lot of competition. China is growing in its own STEM PhD grouping, and it's trying to outpace the United States in that. Frankly, we need to see a return to a better, more stable immigration system where we give people what they need to keep them going. It's as if they want some stability in their job. Hey, I'm at my job. What else can you give me now that I've been here 3 or 4 years to make sure that I'm going to stay? Well, I think with immigration, we have to really hit how do we make sure people can stay. And that's something we're missing right now, and it's going to have to change. If it doesn't change, we're going to see the United States fall behind, specifically in this field where the competition for PhDs in the STEM field has grown significantly, and China has recruited and even had a lot of their own foreign students return with those foreign degrees to contribute to the economic growth in China. We've got a couple questions today, and I'm going to jump on that real quick. We've got the question from Medi24. Is it possible to go from H2B visa to green card or TPS? So that's a big question. The answer is simply yes. It's possible to go for an H2B to a green card. The problem is that H2Bs are limited in time, very, very limited in time. They're very narrow in terms of what they do, and they aren't an immigrant intent visa. So what has to happen is you have to make a plan with your employer to get a sponsorship, get you here, and get you to get through the process. The timing of that is going to be the problem because going from a short-term visa to a perm green card is all about timing. Get to talk to your attorney about that. They'll go over the timing with you. The perm itself can take 18 months, 14 months, and the H2B itself is only 9 to 10 months anyways, right? So you already know it's going to be a big deal on timing. All right, and from Tom K71, any advice how to increase your chances to get picked for an H1B lottery for tech employees? Very simply, yes. Obviously, a master's degree is your number one chance, right? You get 2 ticks at the lottery if you have a U.S. master's degree. That means if you're here now and you're in a bachelor's program and you don't get picked, U.S. master's degree. Number one thing I always tell people. Aside from the master's degree, for tech employees, it's very simple. Get 2 employers, file 2 cases. You're not allowed to file with the same employer more than 1 case, but a different employer filing for you is a great way to get chosen for the lottery, okay? Gets 2 chances at it because you have a legitimate job offer from 2 different companies and they want you to come over. All right, well that takes care of it for today. Thanks for watching the podcast. We love talking to you. We do a lot of lives and other videos. Check those out. Give us a like. Give us a comment down below. We're always here talking immigration, and if you have something you want to talk about, hit us up. We'll definitely get back to you. Take care.